Hello, Brassic Gamer here. This is a bit of a weird video in which I time travel and in which I explain very new, well not very new, I mean new by my standards, tech and old tech, and talk about projects I've already finished that I've already made videos on but you haven't seen yet. So that might be a bit weird. So what we're going to be covering is mostly, I want to talk about this thing. And because it's going to take ages for that thing to do its thing, I'm going to do that thing. And while I'm talking about that thing, I'm going to be talking about that thing and that thing. And then that thing's there, so I could just mention that as well. But this is actually only about this. Now, even my new tech is old. This is a mid-2012 i5 MacBook Pro 13-inch, and I got this just before Christmas. I didn't get the best price for it, but whatever. I needed a laptop and I needed it fast, and I needed something that was compatible with Serato, with my DJ controller, and that was solid, good build quality, stable, and you know, the Apple stuff ticks all those boxes, much as I despise Apple stuff, really. I mean, I've got a Mac Mini, but that's a media center. I have an iPhone, but only because work gave it to me, and it's an iPhone 5S or something. And I'm a fan of old Apple stuff, but no, not in the kind of recent era, the post-iPod era, should we call it. Oh no, I'm showing my Star Wars t-shirt. That wasn't supposed to happen. So this thing, I was quite happy with it when I first got it, but it has been increasingly lethargic since the Sierra and High Sierra operating system updates. And I thought that actually making a video of this, because I can use the timestamp on the video to see how long it actually takes to start up. Now, when I say start up, I don't mean for this progress bar to get here, because this is something that slightly annoys me also, because previously Macs would show a progress bar when they were updating the firmware or like performing a system update or something. Now they do it every time you start up. So when they first started introducing this, I just thought it was failing over and over again to update the firmware. It's stupid. It used to just have the pinwheel, which was fine. Everyone knows what a pinwheel means. It means I'm doing stuff and I'll be done in a minute. And now it's like, I'm doing stuff, but it's arbitrary. It doesn't move with any like regularity. There is no percentage. It's so Apple. Anyway, I'm sure that's not the last negative thing I'm going to say about Apple. It's already taking ages. It's got a 500GB hard drive in it. Ooh, temperature of that changed really significantly just then. Orange. White. It's really weird. I do like the glowy keyboard. That is nice. All right, we have a login screen. So let me... I'm not going to... Oh, Jesus Christ. Look over there while I type in my password. Okay. We are logging in. We are logging in. Are we? Did I get my password right? Yes. No. That's a pretty picture. I could look at that picture all day. Sometimes I do, because this thing takes forever to start up. I should have a menu bar by now. I should even have a dock by now. I have neither. I have a spinning beach ball of death. Sorry. Pinwheel. It's always been a spinning beach ball. It will never not be a spinning beach ball. Now, reasonable period of time to wait for your system to start up is already past. I didn't actually look at what time it was when I started timing this, but hey, it will be apparent by the time it loads. Now, even after the menu bar has appeared, it's still loading stuff. The dock will appear, I will try to open something, and it will continue to take ages to load. That should not happen on a 2012 i5. Yeah, so it's not new. Whatever. It's good enough for what I need, and if you run a 386 with Windows 3.1, it loads really fast because it's running appropriate software. We all know about the recent scam with Apple. What I was supposed to do was, rather than bore you with a picture, I was supposed to be opening this box up. Come back to that in a minute. This is much more interesting. This kind of thing just doesn't come up anymore on eBay. I think the last time I saw one of these was like, God, 3 years ago maybe? I like a job lot because job lots are often vaguely labelled, and job lots are like a box of chocolates. I'm not going to complete that catchphrase because you all know it. And I literally do not really know what I'm going to get into. But suffice to say, there are two 486 motherboards, some VLB stuff, and goodness knows what else. That is an empty envelope used for padding. So, item number 1. Ooh. Look, we still haven't got a menu bar. Jesus Christ. Sorry for blaspheming there. Let me just open Chrome. Let me see how long Chrome takes. So it's not even bouncing yet. It's pathetic. Yeah, I don't have one of these yet. This looks in amazing condition actually. It's a Visa local bus controller card with one parallel port, one serial port, 2 hard drives, game port and floppy. And I'm guessing that a BIOS chip can go there. I'll have to look up that chip label. But it's a UMC chipset. I've got a couple of UMC motherboards. They're pretty good. I would be curious to see if this performs any better than an ISA card. I don't know. Anyway, this is good packaging. Oh look, it's bouncing now, but we still don't have. We've got. Oh, good packaging, layered. I like it, and I can already see that the next 2 items have been segregated, shall we say. Now this one caught my eye in the photo. The photos were not good. I really could not tell what I was getting in the photos, but you can already see from that gold cover there that this is something interesting. Now, what is that? I thought it might be a Motorola 68K, but it's not. It's an AMD something. But it looks like, and it's not in a. It's not removable, which is curious. Although that one is. That's a BIOS chip, obviously, or a CMOS. Let's look at the end, shall we? I reckon. Ooh, that looks suspiciously PS2-like. But why would you have that on something with coaxial, which on an 8-bit card is likely to be network? It's a digital card. Digital. It doesn't. What do we have? What other components do we have here that could give us a clue? I'm going to go with Ethernet. No. Twisted pair. 10 base 2. Jumpers for We've only got jumpers for stuff. We haven't got any other interfaces on here apart from that, whatever that is. Gonna have to look into this card. Got another AMD chipset there, which appears to be a support chip for that one because it's 7990, 7992. It would make sense. December 90. That's an old card. I love old cards. I love old 8-bit cards. Oh, look. I have a Visa Local Bus graphics card with expandable RAM. Doesn't have it's a Cirrus Logic. I don't think I've got one of these actually. Cirrus Logic GD5429. That's a pretty bog standard VLB chipset graphics card there. It's got a green control. Certain motherboards had a green function back when they started caring about power consumption and stuff. Oh look, it's opened but it still hasn't loaded the page. This video has been going on for 11 minutes already. Ridiculous. Yeah, there's not much more to say about that really. Now, what else do we have? Ooh, another 8-bit card. Oh, it's a game card. That is so cool. That's going straight in my XT. That's flipping awesome, that is. 2 game ports. Oh. Now. Ooh. Well packaged again. 30-pin SIM. Probably 1 meg. That's handy. I'm going to put that straight in my collection of, no, that's 72-pin SIMs. My collection of 30-pin SIMs. Uh-oh. Can you see it? I can see it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's kind of bad. Now, I've seen this kind of corrosion spread right over the other side of the motherboard, so at least we... There it is! That's as bad as it gets. That is as bad as it gets. Now, this is obviously an early Intel board. Sorry, it's not an Intel board. An early 486 board. How do we know? Because it only has 16-bit ISA bus, 30-pin SIMs, and what's missing? Visa Local Bus. We do have cache, however, so I think I'm going to be salvaging this board for stuff rather than actually restoring it. We've got a DX33 SIS chipset. Do you know what? I'm going to try and restore it anyway. Just because, why not? Take the battery out, stick it in a bath of vinegar, and then, I don't know. Now, this is different. Slightly less old board because we have Visa Local Bus, we have the usual cache. Oh, look at that. Yep, this is a bad one. This is a bad one. Again, the motherboard has been ruined by a leaking battery. Yeah, so this is what I mean about the age of 486 board, is that by the time VLB came along, 72-pin SIMs had been invented, so you could choose, you could either install your old 30-pin SIMs, or you could install the brand new 72-pin SIMs, which were high density, therefore you needed less of them, but you did have to install them in pairs? No, not until the... As long as they're 32-bit, you can install them individually. Now this is noteworthy It's ST, which, what's that again? It's Thompson, isn't it? And also, yeah, the other difference between these two boards is that socket is not zero insertion force. You have to use a tool to remove, or a screwdriver if you want to break it. The heatsink has been taken off this, but it is zero insertion force. DX266, it would be interesting to see how this CPU performs compared to other socket 3 processors. But yeah, SIF socket there. So we've got corrosion down here, but we don't seem to have it anywhere else. Ooh, have those traces lifted? They're looking pretty bad. Nasty. Didn't actually look at the other side of this board, but oh dear. Well, I never give up on old hardware until it's truly broken, such as the time I accidentally plugged in I plugged in a CPU either the wrong way round or something, and basically set fire to the CPU and melted the socket. So I have a photo of me scraping my window on my car with that when it was particularly... Right, okay, now that bit's done, let's get back to this. So that was a completely ridiculous situation, having to wait that long. So I thought, what can I do? It does only have 4GB of RAM. But, come on. I know 8GB is like, that's what you should go with. But, I don't know, 4GB felt like 4GB was okay for what I do. I'm not running really like Photoshop or anything like that. Anyway, what I decided was, there must be bad sectors on the hard drive. Because most commonly, with a problem like this, and aside from the fact that Apple we know that they have been slowing down their old hardware intentionally, particularly iPhones, but who knows what else they've done. This is the burger pizza from Papa John's, by the way. There's so much wrong with this, I can't actually put it into words. All I need to say is, that's gherkin. Yeah. So either way, it's not performing as it should. So what I thought was SSD. I happen to have 2 SSDs. That's my server. That has 128 gig SSD in it, or had. And that is my AM3 gaming PC, which has a 256 gig SSD, both of which I managed to get for free from someone who didn't want them anymore. So I thought, hey, why not put an SSD in here? Which means I need to clone the drive that's in here onto that. Now that's dead easy, because you can just plug in an external hard drive, boot into recovery mode, holding Apple R before you see the Apple symbol, and then you can load disk utility, and then you can restore one partition to another. Of course, I did have to shrink the existing partition of 500 gigabytes before I could do that. But disk utility allows you to do that on the fly, which is pretty amazing. Couldn't always do that in the past. Anyway, let's just see what happens when I boot off the external. This is an SSD running via USB 2, I believe. Because, I don't know, I'm really not sure. I'm sure Apple don't do blue sockets like everyone else to indicate USB 3, but here we are. So if we hold the option key at startup, we can choose from our different startup volumes. We have the built-in hard disk, and we have the USB hard disk. Let's see how quickly this starts up, shall we? I actually did this by accident just after I'd cloned the drive to test it. So there's no point physically putting it in here if it hasn't cloned properly. And I was absolutely astounded. Is it going to be better? or is it going to be worse? We'll just have some vodka and iron brew while we're waiting. Okay, so password again. I'm still not going to show you. What? I think you would agree, ladies and gentlemen, that is some significant improvement, like 10 times quicker. That doesn't even make sense to me. I know SSDs are fast, but so are SATA hard disks. I'm already astounded by that, so I'm just wondering, now that we've... Yeah, that's right. In the meantime, I swapped the drive back in. A little bit of a wait while it picks it up. Sometimes when you swap the hard disks over, the startup disk isn't automatically selected and it has to hunt for it. So I'm going to go into System Preferences and set the startup disk to the current drive, which will have a different disk ID. Well, probably won't, but what? That is insane. Oh my God. Seriously? That's like a different computer. That makes no logical sense to me whatsoever. I mean, I know I'm a bit out of date. I know this is the newest piece of equipment I have and it's 5 years old, but that's mental. I never would have imagined such a significant performance gain just from switching from a SATA hard disk to an SSD. I mean, I'm a little bit suspicious about this drive now. There were no errors with the smart report. There were no bad sectors. But I'm looking now and I'm seeing September 14, and this is a 2012 computer. So at some point, this drive has been installed in this computer, possibly because the original one failed, possibly because it was an upgrade. But as suspected, it is 5400 RPM. Obviously I haven't been very scientific here. I haven't done any file transfer benchmarking or anything like that. But do I need to? I mean, surely that speaks for itself. Bonkers. Well, I'm much happier now. That's been annoying me for weeks. I'm going to go and load some apps very quickly and enjoy my vodka and iron brew. Thanks for watching.